to thank the Johnson County Board of County Commissioners for declaring June 2nd as National Gun Violence Awareness Day here in Johnson County, Kansas. My name is Olathe. I'm a stay-at-home mom in Lenexa, and I volunteer as the legislative team lead for the Kansas chapter of Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America. Wear Orange began as a grassroots effort of high school students organizing a way to remember their classmate and friend, Heidi Pendleton. On January 21st, 2013, she was marching in the second inaugural parade for President Obama. 1 week later, she was shot and killed at age 15. Today, June 2nd, 2016, would have been her 19th birthday. Her name is being spoken across the country. Skylights are going orange. The Empire State Building is orange. And a growing number of Americans, including us here in Kansas, are wearing orange because we want to end gun violence. Today, we remember the 91 Americans who are killed with guns in an average day. We remember the 12,000 gun victim murders every year in the United States. We remember the 7 children and teens who are killed with guns on average each day. We remember the more than 21,000 gun suicide deaths each year. We remember the 51 women who are killed with guns in domestic violence situations each month. And also, I would like to remember our public safety officers and be thinking of them out there as well, one of which is my brother-in-law up in Nebraska. Orange isn't about politics or choosing sides. It's about ending gun violence and saving lives. And I mean it when I say not one more. Thank you. If you're interested in bringing gun sense back to our state, you can text JOIN to 64433 and get updates with text. You can like Moms or Everytown on Facebook and Twitter. And we had Jean at the sign-up table if you need more information. We'd love to see you all when we plan our lobby day for the 2017 session. And also be sure that we're getting gun sense legislators in our state and Senate and House. And now I'd like to introduce our first speaker, Representative Barbara Boyer. She is a retired physician who has served in the Kansas House of Representatives for the past 7 years. She is a founding member of American State Legislatures Against Gun Violence and sees gun violence as a primary public health issue. She is one of the rare Republicans who is willing to bring this issue to the table for discussion.
Thank you, Joella, and thanks to all of you for being here today. This is a critical public health issue. It is sad that we have to be here, but we do need to be here. And as I said this morning to the county commissioners, demand, and I like that word, we must demand from our public officials a recognition that this makes no sense. There is common ground, and we can live with the Second Amendment and still work to solve our gun violence issues. So I encourage all of you, as Joella said, hold those running accountable. Ask them at the door. Go to their meetings where they have forums and ask the questions, what are you doing about gun violence in our community? Because obviously it does exist, and as she said, no more. So I would like to pass the mic off now to Rabbi Freeman. Oh, never mind, I am not introducing, but I am so pleased you are here today, and do not give up hope. There are enough of us in Topeka, and we can find new people coming to Topeka that can change what's happening in Kansas. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. And while you're still here, Representative Boyer, I'd like to, are there other state legislators here today?
Representative Linda Gallagher, my seatmate, and running again for state representative. Nice to see you.
Thank you. Next, we have Dr. Joshua Freeman. He's a family physician and chair of the Department of Family Medicine at the University of Kansas Medical Center.
Thank you. I wish I could say it was a pleasure to be here. I guess it's a pleasure to be here on the day that the Johnson County Commission asks for an end to gun violence. I am chair of family medicine at the University of Kansas Medical Center, but I need to say I don't speak for that medical center or the hospital or the university. I wish I could. And I'm very distressed. And I know lots and lots of people at the medical center, at the hospital, and in the university are very, very distressed as well. Yesterday at UCLA, 2 people were killed, a gunman and his victim, in a shooting that prompted an incredible mass outpouring of action on the part of the police and the university. It didn't happen here yet, but I'm sure that we can't be certain that it will. Having concealed carry in our universities, in our hospitals, in our clinics, makes no sense at all. Some of our state legislators have quoted President and CEO of the NRA as saying the only good protection against the bad guy with the gun is the good guy with the gun. But in fact, that's simply not true. It's an adolescent fantasy of the Old West. But of course, even in the Old West, that isn't how they did business. The most famous gunfight in the Old West at the OK Corral, what was the legal basis that the Earps had for confronting the Quakers? They had violated the town ordinance, bringing their guns into the city of Tucson. It doesn't make sense, and it's dangerous. We know that people get angry and have fights. From time to time, even on university campuses, alcohol is involved. The current state law not only allows concealed carry, but has no requirements. It doesn't require somebody to have a permit for their gun or training at all using the gun. Just a couple of weeks ago at a graduation in Kansas, a guy shot himself in the foot with a loaded gun that he had in his sock, and the ricochet hit somebody else. This is a dangerous situation. I'm a doctor, an advocate for public health. And the public health is not improved by having ubiquitous carrying of concealed weapons. Not all public health research is easy. It's very expensive and difficult to carry out controlled experiments on major things like the impact of gun laws, except that we sometimes have states whose legislators carry out natural experiments for us. The state of Missouri in 2007 eliminated permit to carry. Since then, homicides have gone up 40% in Missouri, and not in other states that don't have that law. After the Sandy Hook tragedy, Connecticut tightened its gun laws. Homicides have gone down. Some of you may have read an op-ed that I wrote in the Star, and I said nearly 50% of gun deaths are suicides. That's not true. It's actually about 60%. Now, you can't stop someone who's committed to committing suicide from doing it. But lots of suicide attempts are impulsive. People have a chance to change their mind, except when they're dead. And access to guns makes them more likely to be dead, makes them more likely not to have a chance to change their mind, makes them more likely not to be able to have an opportunity for treatment. The mortality rate for gun-assisted suicides is at least 85% compared to less than 5% for drugs. So on every level, on mass shootings, crazy people, on people who might come into my clinic and get angry and pull a gun, and then a good guy with a gun pulls a gun, and the bad guy with a gun, and then some other good guy with a gun who didn't see the first bad guy pulls his gun on the good guy, and then the police show up. This is not what I want to see in the waiting room when you come to visit our community. We have enough issues at KU and in all of our hospitals with gun violence. We don't need to create our own. So thank you and congratulations for being out here.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Freeman. Next we have Rabbi Moti Reber, Executive Director of Kansas Interfaith Action, a statewide multi-faith issue advocacy organization.
Good morning.
Morning.
So I want to see, by show of hands, anybody who's a direct victim of gun violence or a survivor, person who has a relative who is a victim of gun violence. Okay, so I want want you to, if you would, just together say their names. I want to take a moment to, let's take a moment of silence for the victims of our obsession with guns. Thank you. I want to say, so I represent an organization that has a lot of pastors in it, ministers, and my friend, I say this in the name of my friend Sarah Oglesby, who's the one who came up with this. Pastors are often on the front lines of gun violence because we're the ones who have to visit the hospital, sit with the survivors, to bury the dead. So we deal with it quite often. Kansas has no meaningful gun laws right now. The only one that's left is the exemption on churches having open carry, so we can still put a sign. We're the only people who can really still put a sign. And that's, I consider that to be a real failure on the part of our leaders and our legislators, especially given the lopsided votes by which these bills are passed, with very little conversation. The one this year was pushed through. The one this year was allowing government employees to carry their weapons while they're on official duty. Not to be, you can't prohibit a government employee, a state government employee. And that was pushed through in a conference committee late at night. You know, we dealt with it. They didn't bring it up on the floor of the House. They just kind of pushed it through at the end. So there's been no opportunity to oppose these bills. And now we have what we have, which is a situation where colleges are going to have carry, where you can go into your Starbucks and see a guy with an AK-47. It's difficult. It's difficult because I want to say that this is not the kind of world I want to live in. This is not the kind of world I want to live in. You know, where we decide that the only way that we can deal with any issue that we have is with firearms. You know, where did we lose the ability to talk about our problems, or to go to sue people, or to go to court, or to yell at somebody, or whatever you have, other ways that you would have to deal with your problems. You know, now, you can go into any place, in any place in the state, and see someone open carrying. You assume that a lot of people are concealed carrying. You don't know what kind of training they have. You don't know what kind of mental stuff they have. We don't have universal background checks in Kansas. We just don't have any protections at all. And it's, I know when I go into my friend here was in a Starbucks and somebody came in open carrying and she felt she had to leave because it wasn't a safe space. People say that it's for defense, but why would you need to defend yourself by wearing an AR-15 to a playground? Why would you need to defend yourself by intimidating a Moms Demand Action rally somewhere, showing up with open carry? Why would you need to do that? If you think about things like sexual violence, I think about this in terms of the campuses. We already have a problem with sexual violence on campus. What's going to happen when guns are implied? That makes the situation all that more fraught. How can a woman defend herself when she thinks the assailant might have a gun? It's getting worse and worse, and this issue is getting worse and worse. And I want to say that I think that any time a gun is used, it shows it's a failure. Even illegal, defending yourself, even a cop shooting somebody for absolutely good reasons, it's a failure. It's a societal failure. It's a failure of our imagination to help the people that need help, to defend the people that need defending, without the use of a gun. Now, you guys, it's a good crowd for a Moms Demand Action rally. If it was a Moms Demand Action in the Second Amendment, we'd have 2,500 people here. You know, we're the few, the proud. This is an issue. I used to talk about climate change for a living. I still do to a great extent. I always thought that at least I'm not dealing with guns, because that's even harder to deal with than climate change. But I want to say that you guys are on the side of the angels, and I'm really happy that you're here. I'm really happy that Johnson County showed us today, and I'm hoping that with your prayers and your actions, that we'll be able to make a dent in this. We'll be able to send some legislators who know what the heck they're talking about gun violence. We'll be able to bring this issue back, and we'll be able to have sensible gun legislation against gun violence here in Kansas in the future. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much to our wonderful speakers. Thank you for being here today. Thank all of you for being here in Orange. Let's think of Heidia and her family today as they have extended this day as a way to celebrate and honor the lives of survivors and victims of gun violence. This concludes the organized portion of our event. I'll put the music back on if folks want to mingle. And be sure to remember to text JOIN to 64433 if you haven't already, because I'd love for you all to have the information for our next lobby day for the 2017 legislative session and be there. And hopefully we'll have some positive legislation to support. I know Representative Boyer has some out there. We just need to get more folks in the legislature to help her out, and we need to be there making our voices heard. Orange is a loud color. Thank you all.
Go, go.